Here's number 12 of the chapter 1.1 and chapter 1.2 test review. Here we have a problem where we have adding some soil together. How much soil with 55% sand do you need to add to 6 cubic meters of soil with 20% sand in order to make a soil with 30%, 34% sand? So the fact that we don't know how much soil we start with, we want to represent that with x. And so when we make our table, we have our first part, our second part, and our third part. Well, our final. Our percentage goes here, quantity goes here, and concentration goes there. So when we talk about the first part of what we have is this unknown amount of 55% sand soil. So we put our 55% here, and we don't know how much we have. So that's going to be 0.55x. We're going to mix that or add 6 cubic meters of soil that has 20% sand. So 20% sand, and we're combining that, or that's 6 meters, cubic meters. So that's 0.2 times 6. And we want to end with a 34% sand concentration of the soil. So 34%. The amount that we are going to end up with is the two parts added together, so x plus the 6. So we end up with 0.34 times x plus 6. So then we write our equation. We have 0.55x, and that's all coming from right here, plus the 0.2 times 6 is equal to 0.34 times x plus 6. And now we distribute here, multiply the 0.2 times the 6, and then we will solve this. So we get 1.2, 0.34x plus 2.04. Now we need to get our x terms on one side, so we're going to subtract the 0.34x. That will cancel out over here and leave us with 0.21x. We also need to subtract the 1.2 from the left-hand side, and that will cancel out on the left. And over on the right, we will end up with 0.84. And then we divide by 0.21, and we get x equals 4. And that would be 4 meters cubed, or cubic meters. Okay, now for number 13. How many fluid ounces, again, x, of a 75% acid solution must be mixed with 7 fluid ounces of a 25% acid solution to make a 40% solution? So when we put our table together, we have our first part, second part, and the final part. Our percent, our quantity, and the concentration. So the first part is the unknown amount of 75% acid solution. So 75% with an unknown amount. It's going to be added with 7 fluid ounces of a 25% solution. So 25% and 7. and we want to make a 40% solution. And again, the quantity values are going to add up here. So you're going to get x plus 7. Our concentration is going to be 0.75x for the first part. The second part is 0.25 times 7. And then 40%, 0.4 times the x plus 7. So we set this up, we get 0.75x plus the 0.25 times 7 is equal to 0.4 times x plus 7. So we get 0.75x plus 0.25 times 7 is 1.75. Distribute the 0.4, we get 0.4x plus 2.8. We're going to subtract the 0.4x from both sides. That gives us 0.35x. That goes away over here. We are going to subtract the 1.75. And that leaves us with nothing on the left-hand side and 1.05 on the right-hand side. And then we divide by 0.35. And we get x is equal to 3. And that is 3 fluid ounces. We need to make sure we label our units on all of these. So that we have the correct information. And now on to number 14. Here we want to build a garden of our dreams, and we need 12 cubic yards of soil containing 20% clay. That's our final amount. Okay, so that's our final amount. 12 cubic yards of 20% clay. We currently have 12 cubic yards of soil that is 35% clay. And we need to remove soil. So we're actually going to remove soil here before we actually mix. So we don't really start with 12. We start with 12 minus x because we don't know how much we need to remove. So that's something we're going to figure out. So we do 12 minus x for that amount of the 35%. And we are going to add pure soil, meaning 0% clay. And we're going to add back the amount that is taken out from the original soil. So we're going to have 0% clay added back, and that's an unknown amount, x. Okay, so when we make the table, should have had these tables made before I did all the work here. Would have made it faster for you. So first part, second part, and final part. Now we know that we want to end with 20% clay, and the quantity is 12 cubic yards. We're starting with that 35% clay mixture, and even though we have 12 yards of that, cubic yards, we are taking some away, so that's 12 minus x. We are adding soil that has no clay in it, so 0%. And we are adding back that amount that we take away from the original soil of 35%. And so now we write our concentration values, 0.35 times 12 minus x, 0x, and 0.2 times 12. Now we write our equation. So 0.35 times the 12 minus x plus the 0 equals 0.2 times the 12. We're going to distribute, and 0.35 times 12 is 4.2 minus the 0.35x. We don't need to worry about adding 0. And then 0.2 times 12 is 2.4. So we're going to subtract the 4.2, and 2.4 minus the 4.2 is negative 1.8. Over on the left side, we are left with negative 0.35x. So we divide by the 0.35, negative 0.35, and we're left with x is equal to 5.14 cubic yards. And number 15, Leah has a 20-ounce bottle of cleaning solution containing 60% bleach. How much should she pour out into a separate container for another use, and then replace it with water to achieve a 40% bleach? So we're, again, starting with 20 ounces of the 60%, but we're going to pour some out. So we're going to have that 20 minus x of that 60% bleach. We're going to add water, which is 0% bleach. Adding water, which is 0% bleach. And we want our end result to be 40% bleach. So I make my table. We have our first part, second part, and the final. We have our percent, our quantity, and concentration. So let's see, the percent, the 60%. So 60%. Yes, we had 20 ounces of it, but we have to pour some out. So 20 minus x. And then we're going to add water. And this is a table with respect to bleach. And the amount of bleach in water is 0%. And we are adding back the amount that is poured out, so x. And we want to end with 40%. And when we add back, we're going to go back to the original amount of liquid of 20 ounces. So our concentration values over here are 0.6 times the 20 minus x, the 0x, and the 0.4 times the 20. So now we're ready to write our equation. So 0.6 times 20 minus x plus the 0 is equal to 0.4 times 20. You distribute, and you get 12, sorry. You get 12 minus 0.6x equals 0.4 times 20 is 8. Then you subtract your 12. You're going to get negative 0.6 equals negative 4. And then you divide by negative 0.6 to get x equals 6 2/3 ounces. Okay, and that's it for those types of word problems.